Hey everyone, it's BlueLizardJello, and welcome to the very first episode of Everything Possible in New Game Plus, a follow-up to our last series, Everything Possible in Dark Souls 2. Now before we start taking a look at everything that has changed in New Game Plus, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the gear that we'll be using. We have the King's Crown, we have the Chaos Robe, Engraved Gauntlets, and the Desert Sorceress Skirt for our armor. We have the Lightning Mirror Greatsword plus 10, Dark Drift plus 10, and then a couple other items we'll be using: the Magic Curve Dragon Greatsword, the Dark Washing Pole, Drakekeeper Sword, which I did finally get to drop, hurrah, Magic Red Iron Twin Blade just for fun, and of course we have our Magic Pickaxe, we can't forget that, and of course our staves and chimes. As for rings, we're using the Third Dragon Ring, we have the Ring of Blades plus 1, the Lingering Dragon Crest Ring plus 1, and the Southern Ritual Band plus 1. Now the format of these episodes is going to look very different than the last two series. We're not going to be taking a look at every single item drop. We're not going to be looking at every area in the game. My goal in this series is to just showcase the differences in between New Game and New Game Plus. So the Rusted Coin, that is nothing new, but we will be coming up on our first change here in just a moment. And if you are looking for the New Game Plus changes in Majula and in Things Betwixt, let me go ahead and post a video right here. And I think this time I'll choose the left center of the screen where I'm pointing. That'll work. Because I actually ran through those areas in New Game Plus already in the previous series. Hop down off this bridge, and inside this wooden chest, normally you'd find a single human effigy. But now that we are in New Game Plus, we actually get 5 of them. Now the next stop is going to be the Titanite in the Forest of Fallen Giants. In New Game, you have a guaranteed drop of getting the Titanite sword. In New Game Plus, the Titanites all have a chance of dropping a piece of their armor. So let's go ahead and take him out and see if we get so lucky. Anytime that I am trying to go for a specific drop, you will see me change my equipment so I can actually increase my drop rate. Using the Sunlight Blade Miracle. It's actually arguably easier now in New Game Plus than he was in New Game. And we got a drop and Titanite sword. But you can get it, so keep in mind if you're looking for the Titanite armor, you have to farm the knights in New Game Plus or higher. Now let's move on to the next area that has a subtle change in New Game Plus, and that would be the area right past Kale the Cartographer off to the side in the Forest of Fallen Giants. On this ledge normally we'll find an Amber Herb, today we'll find 3 Wilted Dusk Herbs. Pretty good trade. Next, now this is not a change in New Game Plus, however I will be showing you all of the boss fights whether or not something has changed. Now we didn't actually fight the Pursuer on top of this building in the last playthrough, but we are going to take care of him here this time around. And I'm going to show you just how predictable this boss really can be. Now there are some of his attacks that you can just circle strafe around. I choose the rolling method just to make sure that I put enough distance in between him and I. That's my decision. If you want to risk it for the biscuit, you go right for it. I also do roll towards him typically when he does his cursed sword. If you're not right at the end of that sword, oftentimes it's going to go right either over you or through you, as long as you're in the rolling animation. And this is the battle. You don't get anything different from killing the Pursuer. We won't get anything different from killing any of the Pursuers until we get into the throne room in Drang Lake Castle, where we can finally pick up the Ring of Blades plus 2. So this time around, all we're going to get is another copy of the Ring of Blades, which is useless to us since you can't stack similar rings, and we're going to get his soul. However, I did decide when I was coming up with the idea for this series that I will show all boss fights, just so you guys know that I can actually fight in New Game Plus, believe it or not. And actually, believe it or not, I don't know if any of you knew this, this is actually my first time in New Game Plus. In fact, I would consider this a New Game Plus blind run if it wasn't for me watching a German Spy's New Game Plus walkthrough. Other than that, I've never set foot in New Game Plus, so you're going to see me sometimes be startled by the presence of a Black Phantom. That is a legitimate surprise for me. In fact, you're going to see that coming up just now. Not here. I don't even notice him right away. I run in here, I get the aggro, and then lo and behold, that Black Phantom had just jumped down. No idea he was there. Fortunately for me, the Black Phantoms are a little bit more aggressive as far as climbing ladders. So while the Knights will stay down there, the Sienna Knight will actually climb the ladder, and I can fight him one-on-one with the sound of firebombs in the background. Cue explosion. Now, as you can see, the moveset on the Mirror Greatsword and some of the other Greatswords is excellent. You use the R2 combo, and you typically will stagger with the first R2, and then you come around with the sweeping motion to double the damage. And we get another Titanite sword. That's our third. If you ever want to triple wield Titanite swords, just follow this guide and you'll get your chance. Now, I didn't cut this part out just because I wanted to show just how dangerous New Game Plus can be, even with the regular enemies. So don't get like me and don't become overconfident just because you took out a Black Phantom, because these regular enemies are more than enough to do you in if you're not careful. Now, the third and final item change that's different in the Forest of Fallen Giants between New Game and New Game Plus is in the wooden chest below. So we'll go take a look there. Do the usual round. Say hello to our friends in here. Drop off a Ferrous Lockstone. We'll wait to dispatch these enemies. I mean frenemies, because, you know, I feel like we have a lot in common at this point. We may not see eye to eye in every issue, but I like to think that at the end of the day, we have each other's backs, you know? I can really count on them. Nothing new in this chest, however, for consistency's sake, and by that I mean since I have no idea what has actually changed in New Game Plus, I opened it anyway. However, in the wooden chest, which is still trapped, fortunately, the sword I'm using actually has enough stability that I can withstand the crossbow attacks, which is what I ran into. And inside, we have 3 Titanite chunks instead of the Titanite shard that we would have found in New Game. And now for my next surprise. Here I am trying to bait this old Ironclad, only to find that there's a Black Phantom old Ironclad as well. News to me. And yes, I have been watching a German Spy's New Game Plus walkthrough, but I haven't been taking notes. I've just been watching that for fun. And sadly, I didn't learn as much as I should have. Now, if you're keeping count, this would be our second Black Phantom. There is a total of 6 in Forest of Fallen Giants in New Game Plus. Skipping right over to the boss because there's nothing new in that trapped area. The only thing that changes is Pate's dialogue changes just a little, and that he doesn't give you the white sign soapstone because you already have it. I did summon him for this fight. I will be summoning the same NPCs that I did in the previous series just because I'm a completionist and I like to finish the storylines anyway. But now we're dual wielding, so if you're questioning what I've done here, I have the Mirror Greatsword in the left hand and I have the Drakekeeper sword in the right hand. I use Sunlight Blade on the Mirror Greatsword, and then I buffed the Drakekeeper sword with a Gold Pine Resin, which I just love the way it looks more than anything. Yes, the damage helps, but really, New Game Plus, it's all about fashion souls. It's all about looking good. And I personally really like the armor set, and I love the way that the King's Crown looks with the Chaos Robe. The Desert Sorcerer's skirt, on the other hand, it's just because I don't know. Wonder what it would be like in high heels. So sue me. But don't sue me, you probably don't have a case. And if you find a lawyer to take that case, I would really question his ethics. Okay, I was just making sure we were on the same page that I'm not going to be sued for wearing high heels. And there's the last giant on New Game Plus. Same old story, same old fight, same old drops. However, now that we have the Soldier's Key, there is a change coming up. A pretty significant one at that. Now, you don't have to go to the next area until you're actually in the end game, because you have to go through the King's Door, you have to access the giant memories. However, weird texture pop in there. We're going to do it now just because it is part of Forest of Fallen Giants and I want to show you everything that's changed. This isn't different. This is just a soldier fighting behind a ladder. This is everyday stuff, guys. We are going to go back to only using the Mirror Greatsword for this next fight, because I find that using the dual-wield greatswords with multiple NPCs can be very difficult. Although granted, I did only pull one, fortunately. So we have the one straight ahead, and then over to the right we have another of the Xian Knights. Luckily they are pretty easy to pull, it seems, one at a time, and they're not too difficult. Their moves are pretty well telegraphed, and they are easy to stun lock as well. Now, the one thing I have noticed about this build that I will begin to rectify as I gain souls is that I don't have much stamina to be using the weapons that I chose for this run. So getting 2 to 3 hits is about all I can stand before I'm completely drained of stamina. Fortunately, it hasn't come back to bite me just yet. Knowing full well that it will, I will go ahead and put some more points into increasing that stamina bar. And we got the Xian's Helm. You can get random pieces of the Xian set from these Black Phantoms in Forest of Fallen Giants. Case in point. And I'm going to go ahead and spoil this fight. No, unfortunately, I did not get my 4th Haydnite sword. I know we were all looking forward to the quadruple Haydnite sword challenge walkthrough. It just wasn't in the cards, guys. I'm sorry. And that's it for those 2 Black Phantoms. So next we move on to Soldier's Rest. And I show you once again just how dangerous even the regular enemies can be in New Game Plus, especially if you're careless like I am. Take that door frame. So 1 ironclad, not too bad. Except when you don't realize they have a 4-hit combo. And also until you realize that there's more than 1 ironclad. So there's death number 1 in New Game Plus. I have decided I will be showing you all of my deaths in the New Game Plus, and I'll also be keeping tally as well. So that is our first death. So we'll go ahead and speed this up, get back to our bloodstain, hopefully not lose our souls, and we'll pick up from there. You know, I find myself still doing that thing where I pretend as if this isn't post-commentary. I pretend as if I don't know what's about to happen in the video. I just said, hopefully, we don't lose our souls in the meantime. I don't lose my souls. I know this for a fact because I've already played this. I've already done this. I've already gotten my bloodstain back. Although, I have to admit, I did get pretty nervous fighting that old ironclad when he got a hit off on me. Because it was only at that point that I realized I had over 80,000 souls just hanging out on the ground in here. So now we'll take this just a hair more carefully. And still love that R2-R2 combo. Same old bastard sword. I'll take this time right now to talk a little bit about what this series is going to look like, as well as just some general channel discussion, since I have a little bit of time before my next surprise. So this series, as I said, it is not going to be a full walkthrough. It is just to highlight the changes that are in New Game Plus, and as always, if I miss something, let me know. but they are going to be shorter than your average walkthrough. And before I go on, here's my next surprise. This banging sound, and oh look, here's another Black Phantom Old Ironclad. Kind of becoming old hat at this point. But as for the channel, my plan for this series is to complete this before the DLC comes out, and then once the DLC launches later on in July, I will be playing that the day it comes out, and I'll be recording the entire play session. I won't be doing any live commentary because I just want to be able to enjoy the game, and then I will cut and I will edit that clip to show you my first impressions of the DLC. After I've done that, then I will actually learn the DLC a lot better so I can give you an in-depth item walkthrough of the Sunken King DLC. We do have some other plans for other series coming up. I will be doing a no death, no bonfire run. I want to do an SL run of the game, but as far as when that's happening, I'm still kind of working out the details. So keep your eyes and ears peeled on the channel and on our Facebook page for those updates. And now we have, no, it's not Onion Bro. He's just wearing his armor, I hope. I would really rather not think that Sigmund of Katarina, our good old friend Onion Bro from Dark Souls 1, is actually attacking us. Now, if you're looking to get the Katarina set in Dark Souls 2, this is the NPC that you want to farm. However, being a Black Phantom, he only spawns once until you've used a bonfire ascetic. So keep that in mind. I do not get a piece of the armor set. I get the heavy crossbow plus 5. You can also get a broadsword plus 5. So some food for thought. It isn't just a Katarina set that he drops. So good luck becoming an Onion Bro. And with that, this will actually wrap up the Forest of Fallen Giants New Game Plus episode. So I hope you learned something. If you did, leave me a comment below. If I missed something, you have to leave that comment as well. And I will catch you next time where we explore Hade's Tower of Flame and No Man's Wharf.